The No Normies Podcast.
Welcome to the No Normies Podcast. I'm Jim Allison.
I'm Brad LeDuc.
And welcome back to another episode.
Welcome back. It looks like we made it. Let's not catch up. We already know we're still in pain.
Yeah, so how are we doing? It's shitty, but you know what?
Moving on.
We decide that after doing a bunch of shooting the shit episodes, we should probably just do a couple episodes about
focus.
Yeah, focus. Using our minds to focus on something just to talk about that was cool, like a movie or a genre or whatever. But this episode, we decided to talk about British comedies.
Smashing!
I started out with the British comedies from the public access, or the public broadcasting like stations, and they were mostly on like Sunday nights before a block of cartoons or anime and stuff. So I learned about, I knew of Monty Python. My father would watch Life of Brian.
Yep.
Or Holy Grail. But it was up to me to seek out other things. And when we were kids, there's no fucking internet. It was basically word of mouth or a
weird VHS that an uncle had or a father.
Totally, yeah. Or we had a shitty VHS rental place, and the back of the
they'd even
store
have British comedies, right?
One or two.
Comedies? Yeah.
One or two.
Oh,
yeah. So I picked up Life of Brian by myself. One time after I saw my dad watching it, and I was like, okay, that's a little weird, because he goes into space at some point, and I was just like, I had no fucking clue what that was about. So I stumbled upon that, and then I started renting all the old Monty Pythons from them, and then I discovered them on public broadcasts is that they were showing old episodes of Blackadder and Red Dwarf. And those were, sci-fi, and then also it was Mr. Bean was in Blackadder, so that was it was weird enough, because Rowan Atkinson is Mr. Bean. He's nutty enough too, so that's what started me on it.
He's a nutty guy. Yeah. I feel like with you, I think Python is a jump off point for a lot of people. Mm-hmm. And for some reason, I don't know why this is. I don't have the data to back this up. I feel like a lot of fathers kind of get their kids into Python.
Sure.
Because my dad too, we had VHS of Holy Grail, Life of Brian, The Meaning of Life, which really fucked me up seeing as a kid. I don't know why. But
I couldn't imagine seeing that as a kid.
Messed me up. But Python is just I think that's also just a really good introduction to British comedies for, earlier in the day, back in the 90s or whatever, for the 90 kids.
Yeah.
80s kids. That and Peter Sellers from Pink Panther.
Very ingenious.
He pulled himself across the floor.
Of course, he would need a very slippery floor to do that.
Therefore, the wax.
The wax?
Are you, all right?
Of course I am all right. I'm examining the wax.
Mm-hmm.
That's something that made me really just appreciate comedy. I think they actually helped me more so than the American comedy.
I never watched the Pink Panther until I was an adult. So
really?
I always walked past it, and I knew the cartoon from the Looney Tunes cartoon Pink Panther.
Yeah.
And so I was just like, why is there a live action one when the one that exists in cartoon form has an actual panther that's fucking with this one detective guy?
Pink.
Yeah, it's hey, I'm a literal guy, I guess, as a child.
Which is kind of weird when you think about it, because the Pink Panther, they didn't actually take the panther, but they took the detective in the Pink Panther cartoon. Mm-hmm. That's Peter Sellers' character.
Yeah.
Clouseau, right? Detective Clouseau? Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was... It opened my eyes. Just the way... I feel like British comedy is very just goofy and just
but at the same time it could go highbrow. It's it's very intelligent goofy.
Yeah,
and they walk that tightrope line of that, and I think it's very hard to no one can really redo it. The Office came over and they redid it, and it became its own thing.
Yeah,
it wasn't the British Office. Yeah.
Nope.
So that's a big distinction, you could say. Yeah,
it's kind of funny because I remember I heard being a comedy nerd, I'd always watch some kind of a short clip on YouTube or a podcast. But Ricky Gervais jokingly said, I think he says we don't get sarcasm, mm-hmm. And then of course one of the other comedians who's American says, what do you mean? He just right back at her And I think we got a foot up after The Simpsons came out, kind of thing. You know what I mean?
Oh, hell yeah.
It's I think.
Well, I think The Simpsons writers definitely knew all kinds of comedy.
But the funny thing is, you talk to any comedian over from the UK, they say that they got their inspiration from American comedians.
Oh, sure. I'm
like
sure
early
it's like
day.
vice versa.
Yeah.
I'm sure Mongolian comedians probably got it from Vietnam. I don't know.
You don't know, you know?
Yeah.
But yeah, dude, Monty Python, Life of Brian was something we'd watch every Easter.
So always look on the bright side of death. Just before you draw your terminal breath. Life's a piece of shit when you look at it.
Oh, really? That's an interesting.
Helped.
Okay, it is related to Jesus.
I think my dad was trying to. I grew up in a Catholic family, basically, because of my dad.
I'm sorry.
And I'm sorry. My dad was just showing. He was
the Catholic side.
He's the Catholic side. I think he's still pretty religious. Totally cool. And he I think gave the option to me to think about like how crazy this whole thing is. Period.
Yep.
So by showing Life of Brian, it's like kind of showing that like Christians also have a sense of humor.
That's funny. My dad is also a Catholic. He always called himself a recovering Catholic.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's the one that he was the funny one in my family. My mom's funny, but like my father definitely like could if he could probably write a premise and write a couple bits of stand up. But yeah, it's funny. Yeah, my father got us into that too. So my sisters, I mean, they like comedy, but they do their own kind of comedy. Whereas I think me and my dad would.
Almost like a bonding thing, right? Yeah.
In a way, yeah. If he was still alive, we would have like definitely bonded on a lot more. But yeah, like Monty Python was definitely the one thing that we shared on that too. Yeah. So that's interesting.
For sure. It's weird to think about, like because my sister loves Monty Python, but
really.
She loves.
I don't want to be sexist, but that's a rare thing. Like a lot of women don't like Monty Python. At least what I've seen.
It's kind of half and half kind of thing. I think. I don't know. It's just like, and of course we don't talk to everybody in the world, so we don't know.
Exactly.
It's like one of those things. Monty Python for me kind of opened up a lot of doors because I found out about John Cleese, of course.
Yeah.
And he's spawned off into other things like Fawlty Towers, which was another big part of my dad's life. I think he introduced all these heroes he looked up to, and I think John Cleese was definitely one of them.
Yeah.
Because Fawlty Towers came along, and it's about this guy who runs like a bed and breakfast kind of thing, and it's Mike Python's John Cleese, but a version of him who's even more over the top and angry.
When I pay for a view, I expect something more interesting than that.
That is Torquay, madam.
It's not good enough.
Well, may I ask what you were expecting to see out of a Torquay hotel bedroom window? Sydney Opera House, perhaps? The hanging gardens of Babylon? Herds of wildebeest sweeping majestically?
I expect to be able to see the sea.
You can see the sea. It's over there between the land and the sky.
Really?
Like he uses anger to run this place, and he has like he was on the show with one of his ex-wives. Like he was married to the person on the show at the time, but of course they broke up. He was a ladies' man. I think a lot of these people
John Cleese
was a ladies' man. Yeah.
All right.
He also I think had a drinking problem as well as a lot of Pythons did. But like with any humor comedy,
with humor comes darkness.
Darkness
comes humor.
But it was a really great show, and I feel like a lot of these. I just remember a lot of these theme songs in my head because they were such a big. Like I remember as soon as that came on, I'd be like, "Oh shit, Fawlty Towers." My dad would he'd make us come into the room. He'd make us come into the room. But
James, get over here.
I got
Cleese.
It's Cleese. I got to thank him for that because like he introduced a lot of early. By giving me a taste of the British comedy, I started looking for more things. Mm-hmm. And like, what's some other stuff? Like
the bug in your ear is like, is finding those little gems. And again, when we were kids, we had to search it out, and you found more and more. And then now, I mean, now that we're all like really spoiled with the internet, it's
super
it's
saturated.
Right fucking there.
It's super saturated, which is great. But like, you remember shows from like Peep Show, which who's the guy?
Bits and Pieces. It was a Mitchell and Webb.
Yeah. And that was just crib, just the way they filmed it, because they built a camera rig on their chest, so the POV was always them talking to each other, and weird situations would happen. It's just basically they took everyday things and just the way they shot it, I think is what really sold. And plus they're comedians, so the jokes of the roommate issues were really funny. Mm-hmm. What else? Ricky Gervais is a huge fucking.
Yeah, he was a juggernaut.
He's a beast in British comedy. Still is.
Yeah, I watched that one thing that like that David, or that one where he's like a special like attendant.
The one that Netflix had.
I didn't. It didn't take to me, but I mean, I loved it. I mean, I loved the British Office was great. I mean, I loved his his series with Carl Pilkington ones, or like the Idiot Abroad, where he sends
Idiot
them
Abroad,
out to be uncomfortable and just laugh at his misfortune.
Yeah, and then he got Warwick Davis to join him in the second season, and like
Carl Pilkington,
he didn't know how to interact with someone who was a dwarf or a
Yeah.
little person. Like he just always was insulting him.
fucking awkward. Yeah,
Didn't really know how to interact,
but in a way that like Warwick at the end would like always be the one that like was funded well, so or like just like got the most fun, and like it was always just a matter of just fucking with fucking with Carl,
the bold-headed buffoon,
Yeah.
which is Carl Pilkington. And the first time I ever knew about that guy is because of the Ricky Gervais show, which
the
was
cartoon
the
one?
podcast, which got turned into a cartoon.
That was good, yeah.
Which is always fun. It's very warming to me. It's like a comfort thing. It's a comfort food. Go back and watch those shows.
Oh hell yeah!
Because it's just like you have Steve Merchant, who's this lanky, tall dude. It's just weird how they all met and stuff, and how they work together. It's insane. It's and Ricky Gervais is always. He's definitely like the McDonald's from the UK. He's touched everything in the US, like comedy wise.
Yeah.
It seems like every other comedian wants to work with him, or he's been in their shows or produced or something like that. Because he did that show Extras, right?
Yeah.
Which was basically him showing the life of people who were in like trying to be extras in films.
Yeah, yeah.
And they'd always have like weird cameos. Like I think David Bowie was on an episode.
Pathetic little fat man, no one's bloody laughing. The clown that no one laughs at, they all just wish he'd die. Fatso takes his own life, he blows his stupid brains out.
But the twat probably miss.
Yes, Linda, I like that.
Yeah, so do I. It's brilliant, Linda.
Wasn't Liam Neeson in that one?
Liam Neeson was in it. John Cleese was in it. I think guy who played
Patrick Stewart, right?
Sir Patrick Stewart, yeah. And
pardon me. Yeah.
Sir Patrick Stewart. And they always made them say the most ridiculous things, no matter what their.
Wasn't Daniel
Ratcliffe?
Wasn't he in it too?
He was trying to sleep with someone,
Yeah.
his assistants or
Like,
something.
I have
like
a
that.
rubber or something like that. Yeah.
So like, gotta hand to him that Ricky Gervais actually had that kind of push.
I mean, a couple of ones that I remember was like early Comedy Central. They had the League of Gentlemen, and
yes.
that one was such an like. It was one of those shows where like they have a really good budget, and so their costumes and their characters were so like really good, but like it was kind of a gross kind of like you feel dirty watching it, but it was like it was such an immersive world. It's like some of those British comedies actually have like really good immersive worlds, like the League of Gentlemen or Little Britain. Like those guys are really good at just creating those characters, and you're just like, oh yeah.
It's like they're taking like a lot of comedians. They take like little pieces from people they see in real life and just fucking exaggerate the shit out of them. Because League of Gentlemen, I just remember really gross cheeks but really bad teeth. Like they really played on the whole British bad teeth saying like they were really just disgusting. And there was a character named Tubbs. Do you remember that? There was Tubbs and the husband, I don't know, or brother, we don't know because they never really said what was going on. But there was an episode. Let me step back. I think the premise is there's a relative visiting. He
was like the everyman or like a nephew or
just
something.
A normal nephew.
And he walks into this small place called like I think it was Royston Vasey.
Yep.
I think so. And then like he just like gets swallowed up by this tiny town, and
and then he has to stay with his aunt and uncle or whatever, wherever they are. And I clearly remember, I don't know why this stuck with me. Maybe because me and my dad, we watched it, and he always brought this one up, but like. His uncle said something like, I guess Benjamin thinks it's weird for one to drink their own pee-wee or something like that, their own wee. and then I think he turns and goes, yes, I do. And Tubbs goes, ooh, like just really weird. Like they're upset he doesn't drink his own pee or something.
Yeah.
Like that. And like that's the kind of weird shit that happened. Plus there's an episode where they burned a police officer to death. Do you remember that?
I don't.
They were doing something illegal, or they were like eating people, or something really weird was going on. And the police officer catched wind of this, and he came to the shop, and everything was going to be fine. Then he said something wrong, and the next shot was them putting his police hat in a fire.
Holy shit!
In the back of their house. It might
I
have been the
don't
last
remember
episode.
that. Yeah. Well, I mean, the ones that were popping up, like the Mighty Boosh, we saw on like Adult Swim, and then
you saw it on Adult Swim?
Yeah, where'd you see it?
I thought I saw it maybe on Comedy Central. Maybe I was like, was it ever on
the Mighty
Central?
Boosh on Comedy Central?
God, I remember being on like a high channel. I don't remember it being.
Or were you high watching it on a channel?
I might have been high.
Okay. But yeah, that goes with, I think, Little Britain, is that it was a world that was just really out there, and the characters that they created in there were were super crazy. I remember the episode of like with the guy with the hole in his the door in his head, and his friend Spider. Yeah, it was like, he was like a groove master, and like his friend wasn't, and he was trying to. Yeah, like, they call me Spider because I got 9 dicks, and like he was doing like a bad Cheech Marin impression. Yeah. But it was like the other guy could like they were playing like jazz music, and then they go and save a town or something from like this like old analog tape monster that was like abducting all the beautiful women.
Oh God!
And the only one that wasn't abducted was because she like put poop all over her face or something. Yeah, it was fucking weird, but like they had a great. I mean, the old Greg, look at my vagina. And those every episode was it. I think it was just like held together with the littlest of just like those two guys.
Yeah,
but like they would just go off on these different like. It was almost a different movie every time.
Yeah. The premise was always very uniquely different.
Mm-hmm.
Then there was, I don't know if you remember who this is, because this guy's been on a bunch of different things, but they had one American actor. Do you remember? He was like the zookeeper or something like that?
Yes, his name is, he's got a podcast right now.
Yeah.
He's been in a bunch of things. Yeah, he's got those like kind of like droopy dog, like jowls and stuff.
He talks like this.
But
it
talks like this. Yeah. Fuck, I want to say David or something. Yeah. But yeah, it was funny that like that British that actor got into like that British television. But yeah, that's that. And then I mean, Garth Marenghi's Dark Place was just a great parody.
It had the coolest like 80s intro, 70s intro. There's very like it gives this nostalgia feel to it, but like the humor in it was just so fucking like
it was dry and
shit.
But, yeah,
and the beats were so slow, but you get it and you'd be like, oh my God, it's hilarious.
Yeah, and then that gave birth to our love of Matthew Berry.
Oh my God,
of just and him that golden voice, for fuck's sake, that's so good.
Toast of London,
which
is on Netflix right now. If you guys have a chance to check it out, it's so good.
Yeah. I mean, you'll fall in love. Come for the voice, stay for the comedy. Just goddamn, yeah. And then go back to Garth Marenghi, because that's just really where I just fell in love with him.
He's the main guy. He is the main character in that, right?
No, he's a side character. He's the other.
He's the doctor.
He's like Dr. Sanchez is Matt Berry, and then Garth Marenghi is Douglas.
Right.
I think it was like Dr. I think it was Doug Douglas. No, it was just I know his name was Douglas, and then we found Richard Ayoade as Thornton Millen, the like the token terrible actor. Shut up, you get a knuckle sandwich. Yeah, or the great Matthew Berry line of just like, so what's this between you and this Renwick customer? And then the eyebrow raise.
What was the show where I think it was a different show, but like he was trying to pick up women or something like that, and he's being nice to them on the street.
Oh God, yeah, that was I think that was just another. Like I think he had his own show, before Toast to London, like a comedy show.
So his name show, basically.
I think it was the Matt Berry Show. I don't know. But yeah, when he was trying to be like it, like he's like, oh, let me carry. You're carrying this terrarium.
Yeah, the purpose was he was trying to be nice to women on the street.
Nice to women to get their. It was like, oh, thank you. I'm just moving into my boyfriend's place. Oh, fuck you! And he just like throws it down,
the whole thing down, break the glass.
Immediately drops.
And he was trying to be nice to like every woman, and then he was like, I'll walk your dog. Or
walk your dog. Oh, thank you. I'm going up to my husband's flat, and it's like, oh, fuck you.
And just punts the dog.
Punts the dog into traffic. Yeah.
It's almost like every time he's in something, it's slightly different from what he can. You know what I mean? He has different ranges of that one character, which is great. Oh God. He in Toast to London. He's a voice actor, right? So they finally make his voice is a character basically in that show where he's playing a voice actor. And he gets called back. There's a running gag where he gets called back into a studio to record something for some company. And the people who the sound engineers and like the producers in that studio, and they're always fucking with him. Like they'll always pretend the mic's cutting out right when they're talking. So fucking great. So great. What about Mr. Bean? I didn't. People are going to be alarmed when I say this, but I didn't watch a lot of Mr. Bean growing up.
Like the individual episodes?
Yeah. Like I just know him as like a mystery legend kind of guy.
You saw the movie though, right?
The movie
of Mr. Bean?
No.
From the 90s?
No.
With the guy who played the guy who's like Vigo, like that guy. He was like, nope. Are you fucking kidding me? The thing was everywhere in the 90s.
People are gonna send it.
It was like before. Mail. It was like before, maybe a year before Austin Powers.
Really?
Yeah.
So 94?
Like around that, yeah. But yeah, that was the big one. That was the one. Do Did you ever see like him like in an airport with like a cops with a guns to him?
I saw that clip.
Yeah, and then he shakingly takes his handgun, his fingers, chip a gun out. Yeah, that's from the movie. Yeah.
Oh my god. Because
you fucking savage.
This is really fucked up. But I feel shitty saying this, but like the only reason I know anything really about Mr. Beans is because I saw Rat Race, and they put his.
I think we're done here.
Yep. Brad,
I'll give you one more.
Come back. But seriously, like which is really weird to think about. They took his character and just threw him in a different movie.
Yeah, really.
They didn't do anything unique. They just threw his character.
And I'm surprised you didn't just stop liking him from that, because it was just a watered down Bean.
He was also narcoleptic, right? Like it
was something.
He
kept
falling asleep. That was the character, Mr. Bean, but falling asleep.
Yeah,
that's it.
Yeah.
No, don't worry. When Smash Mouth came on, I think I stabbed the person next to me just out of rage. Rat Race was
I did the same
movie.
thing with Shrek. Yeah.
Oh my god.
Oh my god. But yeah, Rowan was great. Did you ever see his stand up? The one where he was like doing the summary of the Shakespearean play.
No.
It was called like I think it was like Swords and Pink Tights or something. Or like the one where he was doing in the same stand up he did just the invisible drum kit.
Oh.
Like he would just walk onto it on stage and sit down, and then he would he'd walk on stage like being a janitor and sweeping, and then he would just eventually he'd hit a drum and he'd just step back. It was all really just mimed, and then it would just be him just eventually just discovering the drum kit and then going all the way around, and it would just be like a giant drum kit. He just keeps finding him. He'd find a cymbal just like and freak out, and then he would come back and like hit it slowly, and it's like a little kid eventually finding like a toy. And it was a really great.
This is his stand-up.
It was Rowan Atkinson live or something like that. Yeah, and that's awesome. A good read, because like the Shakespeare breakdown is one of the most brilliant things I've seen him do. That was one of my favorite fucking things, because he hits all like the just like there's a big battle, and then there's the bad guy and the good guy, and then the bad guy dies from poison, and but like the way that the narrator does it, because there's a guy off stage narrating for him.
Yeah,
and then he's doing like the kind of like the miming of it. But he hits all the beats of like the Shakespearean like hero's journey, and it's fucking great. Yeah, I'm terribly like soiling it, but yeah, that's Rowan Atkinson's just I think he's a living legend over in Britain. He should have been knighted, for fuck's sake.
He's got to be on some kind of currency somewhere, right?
Yeah, like, dude gets paid, yo.
Like even like a bean can.
Mm-hmm. But going back to the Shaun of the Dead, we learned of Peter Serafinowicz,
which fucking amazing. I feel like I'm so late to this because I think we both agree when we saw him in Shaun of the Dead, he was such a good actor that you look at him and you think, like you said, he just looks like a rugby player.
Yeah, he looks
like he doesn't have range at all. He just seems like, okay, there's a guy who's playing the roommate.
Yeah.
Cool.
Mm-hmm.
But we found out that he had a show, and it's just like, it's the funniest. He is probably one of the best impersonators alive today, hands down.
Yeah, he's a chameleon when it comes to just his impersonations, and the show had they had a great budget, so he got so much makeup with it, and just prosthetics, and just like they really shot it well, and funny shit.
The
underestimated. We totally underestimated him. Yeah.
No, it's so good to see like inside the actor studio, right?
The inside the actor studio thing. The what was it? Did he do? Well, he did. What's his name?
He did De Niro.
He did De Niro. Kevin Spacey. He did Michael Caine. And what was? Goddamn, Brando. Yeah, Brando as Jabba the Hutt. Yeah, fucking horrible.
Oh shit!
Oh, but another brilliant fucking mind of comedy, and I think he was in an episode of Parks and Rec when they went to Britain too.
Really?
So that was pretty cool. Yeah. He and Chris Pratt. Like, was
it Chris Pratt? I thought it was also the guy Ron Swanson. That guy.
Well, Swanson went to Ireland. So, but I think it was Chris Pratt had the job like of dealing with the British like people, and like it was him and Michael Scott. No.
Michael Scott.
Michael Scott. Jesus.
Sin.
No. It was the
Amy Poehler or
Amy Poehler's boyfriend on that show. The thin guy.
Yeah. It's been a while, I guess.
Thin guy. All right.
Thin guy. Look it up. Look up our research for us. Do our job.
Yeah. God, is there anything we're missing on that?
There is.
I'm sure there's a. I mean, I tried the IT Crowd. I just like Richard Iowade from that.
Yeah, I tried. It's kind of funny. Like, I tried IT Crowd and I just couldn't. I tried really hard to get into it because it seems a lot of my friends were like, yeah, check out this new. And it's funny because I feel like anyone over here, they feel like any British comedy is an indie, and it's like, no, it's independent to us because we don't get it on mainstream.
Yeah,
that's
why mainstream over there. Yeah.
Oh, it's a secret. It's but maybe. Do you think now? How do you think about this? I have a theory that had a piece of something on my arm there. Gross. Do you think that since it is from a different, location on Earth and different like culture altogether, that's why we look at it differently? Like, this is unique, this is special.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah, I do too. But it's because
it's the same as where you'll have Looney Tunes and then you'll have fucking Astro Boy from the same time, but. I mean, there's of course, different culturally. And I think that's where a turnoff is to a lot of people, is that like, oh, British comedy, I don't get it. And it's just like, well, I mean, you just gotta kind of surrender yourself to their comedy to like, if you go in there with like a critical mind, I think it kind of hurts it. Whereas you just got to go in and just like have the experience, and either it didn't work for you or it didn't. Don't take it too seriously.
Yeah,
and
it's
I think
basically just keeping an open mind, period. Because if you start to think like, well, this is an Ace Ventura, like, I hate to say that as our level comedy for
Paul
America.
Blart, no,
this is no Paul Blart.
Nothing. Yeah,
Paul Blart, Paul Blart.
Yeah, and I think when someone says, "Oh, I like this British comedy," I'm like, "Oh, really? Oh,
yeah,
I'd like to know more."
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's just and to tell the truth, like, if Sally, I feel like a lot of people get turned off with a lot of different international things, not even UK. But if you cannot understand the language, you just give up right away.
Yeah.
But if they're doing something that's kind of slapstick or funny, like physically, I'll give it a try. I'll watch it. There's a lot of
Kung Fu Hustle was fucking brilliant.
It was great.
Yeah. I didn't understand the damn word they said.
I don't know what they're saying. Subtitles still confuse me.
But I liked it. No, yeah,
it was cool.
But cool. Yeah, it's a completely unique style of comedy that just, I mean, you really can't reproduce it anywhere else. It's just the writers are as just the writing style and the comedy styles are just it's just wholly unique, and I think that's why it has such a draw to like comedy fans like us. Yeah, and I'm sure vice versa for British people as well too. Is just like they probably think of like The Office, or no, they probably think of The Office as just like those fucking Yanks.
Oh yeah, I don't know what they think. It's just
I hope not. But yeah, I hope they like look at like Will and Grace or some shit, or
or some shit. You could say Seinfeld, make me feel a little bit better.
Seinfeld, thank you. Yeah, like I don't know what's with my brain today. I don't have enough protein to think. But yeah, Seinfeld, or giving them like Cheers or something. And they're just like, oh, that's fucking brilliant, eh?
Yeah, funny enough, do you know what they actually really a lot of British people like Frasier?
Really?
Yeah. It's just like, oh, interesting. I like Frasier, but it's funny they went for Frasier.
I've tried it, and it's like pulling teeth with me. I can't do Frasier.
Scrambled eggs. Like, no, I totally feel that. I feel the same way. I feel like we have. It's always been. I mean, of course, we have this kinship because the UK, America. It's like they're basically our. How do I put this?
Smarter cousin.
Our smarter cousin. Yeah. Are more, unless you're Cockney,
well reserved cousin,
Cockney, then all different.
That doesn't want to blow things up. Yeah.
Yep. We apologize about Trump, guys.
I apologize for nothing.
I apologize for nothing. But man, it just there's a lot of good stuff.
Other ones too. I mean, we're hitting mainstream ones. I think
it sucks. I'm blanking though on a couple because I know there's like a bunch that are out there.
I know Alan Partridge is popular. I tried it, wasn't for me. And again, yeah, it's different things, different strokes for different blokes, I guess.
I see what you did there.
I feel sick. Yeah. It's really it's just you're finding a gem, and you just like you go down that rabbit hole and you find something else too. So it's a fun. Little treasure hunt every time I go to like think of it, go to find new British like shows.
Open that Verizon.
Yeah, I haven't done Sherlock Holmes yet.
Really?
And you love it. You love it.
Oh yeah,
you love the
if we're
Bembercatch.
Falling off comedy, it's like just their drama shows are really good. I think that show does really well because it's British. It's supposed to be British, a British character and all that. I
like Martin Freeman.
Martin Freeman's great, and Cumberbatch is great too. Like
Mumbercum.
Fucking I love the storytelling. It's like it's kind of weird because I feel like a lot of modern day British dramas right now have, unless it's Black Mirror. Black Mirror is completely on a different level, but.
I haven't done that one either.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, dude.
Oh, look, I've fallen off. Yeah.
You gotta watch some of that. That Black Mirror is the shit. It's great.
I mean, it's a mirror, but it's black. What's the deal?
I know. But, yeah, I mean, when it comes down to it, just watch some British anything. Just expand your mind. Go across the pond.
Yeah, just sit down, pick one, go with it.
Finish the series.
We just gave you a bunch of great ones, and I think
and
you
find
look at
one
us
like fuck you. No, fuck you, buddy.
Whoa,
fuck you.
Whoa. Less American, more British. Okay, I politely disagree.
Sorry, you fucking cunt.
No, okay, touche. Cockney, the stepbrother of us.
Ciao.